Okay, good evening, guys. We're going to have our fifth session for this evening, and hopefully, we can finish this three more sessions so that we can have our final examination. So, our topic for this evening is about web services development. Now we are on the module 15, chapter 15 of our discussion, and our objectives for this evening is to number one, design, develop, and deploy a web page. Number two, develop pertinent skills in debugging web pages. Number three, design a web page as a service on the internet. And number four, deploy different types of web applications. So, what is web services development? Web development or web services development is a two different matter. So, let's concentrate more on web services, okay? On web services, the term web service is either number one, a service offered by an electronic device to another electronic device communicating with each other via the World Wide Web, or number two, the server running on the computer device listening for request at particular port over the network. So as configuration of a port, which is your HTTP or your hypertext transport protocol, and other types of languages being done or being written into, can create web application services which solve specific domain problems over the internet. Now, in a web service, web technology such as HTTP is used for transferring machine-readable files format as XML or JSON or GSON. So in particular, a web service commonly provides an object-oriented based interface to a database server utilized, for example, by another web server or by a mobile application. So it then provides a user interface to the end user, and that many organizations that provide data in HTML format will also provide the data on their server, such as XML or JSON. So we have asynchronous JavaScript, or what we call XML, or what we call JavaScript, no? So this is a dominant technology for web services and developing from the combination of HTTP servers, JavaScript clients, and all plain XML. So in your module, you can find there the figure on web services architecture that is being broke down into several components. And then another a diagram, a web services in service-oriented architecture, so that platforms being used for architecture on the internet. So, okay, to have more details on that, we can have simple object access protocol. For this kind of technology, this is a shortcut, it has an acronym of SOAP, or the Simple Object Access Protocol. So what does it do is, in a messaging protocol, specifications for exchanging structured information in the implementation of web services in the computer network. Its purpose is to provide extensibility, neutrality, and verbosity and independence. So it uses XML information set for its message format and relies on application layer protocols, most often hypertext transport protocol. And then, although some legacy systems communicate over simple mail transfer protocol for messages and negotiation and transmission, this SOAP allows developers to invoke processes running on disparate operating systems such as Windows, Mac, and Linux to authenticate, authorize, and communicate using XML, or extensible markup language. So since web protocols like HTTP are installed and running in all operating systems, SOAP allows clients to invoke web services and receive responses independent of language and platforms. So we have characteristic of SOAP. So first is the extensibility. Number 2 is neutrality. And number 3 is independence. And then SOAP also provides messaging protocol layer of a web service protocol stack for web services. So it defines the message structure, it set the encoding rules for expression of instances, and it is a convention for representing procedure calls and responses. Okay, so determines that an application can send a request to a server and that web services enabled such as real estate price or database. Okay, now guys, for your what I'm reading to you is just the technical aspect of SOAP. Pero the applications that are using SOAP are the following. You can use depends on your preference. So most of the time, I know that you're using Facebook Messenger. So when you are going to message somebody on your phone or on your computer, for that matter, you're using a third-party application, which is your FB Messenger. So your FB Messenger is an example of a SOAP-enabled service. Ang inyong application is the FB Messenger. Ang inyong processes is the SOAP. So hindi daya habon ang SOAP nga daya, pero this is the processes of messaging in your web-based application platform. Okay? So amo da ang nang explanation guys in simpler term. Okay, what I'm talking to you kagina is just the technical aspect. Okay? So we have architecture. The SOAP architecture consists of several layers and specifications. So first is the message format. Number 2 is the message exchange pattern. Number 3 is the underlying transport protocol bindings. Number 4 is the message processing models. Number 5 is the protocol extensibility. So there are a lot of transport methods, message formats, and advantages of SOAP. But actually, the SOAP is just a platform being used for communication, for messaging using web-based applications. Okay, so don't confuse SOAP sa pareho kadang mga threads ninyo sa sa Twitter or sa Facebook. Ang ana gid kadaya nga ang format or para ma-classify mo nga nagagamit ka SOAP is the platform wherein you are communicating with each other. So this is different from VoIP because the VoIP is the voice format. SOAP is just a platform used for messaging. Amo lang gid tanay purpose na, guys. So in simpler term, this is just a format for messaging. Okay? So for your activity 142, what you're going to do is to code or encode HTTP XML format codes. And what you're going to do is to encode this and provide a screenshot, just like the usual, and upload it on your Google Classroom. Before you, you take a screenshot, you must verify this using your IDE, online IDE. So make sure the codes are working properly. And after that, that's the time that you're going to provide the screenshot, just like the usual. Now let's go to Web Services Description Language. So for WSDL, this is the shortcut for Web Services Description Language. This refers to the IBM and Microsoft language development written in XML. So it is used in describing the web services that is being utilized by Microsoft Corporation. So this description includes services, location, and methods, and it works in coordination with SOAP and UDDI in order to provide web services. So tandaan ninyo, ang SOAP is used to call web services. Pero ang nagalista ka mga kung sino ang tawaan ka messages, at the same time, ang nag-provide ka services within sa network is the WSDL. So what contains about WSDL is the information about the definition, the data type, the messages, the services, the bindings, the target namespace, and the port type. So take note that this is different from mail, wherein what you're going to do is to provide a web content being sent electronically. So this time, it is a messaging platform is real time, and of course there is a conjugation of properties that is being enabled for web services development. So it describes also the services and collections of networks, endpoints, or ports, just like some messages or some text content, just like your HTTP. Ang HTTP nyo is the port for web services or web portal. Actually, may ginatawag mga STML, which is ang sa mag-send kadang short messages sa inyong platform. Pero what does WSDL obtain? Because it has a characteristics which provide services being done into conjugation of properties for direct messaging. So it specifies the operation that will be performed by the services. It is based on XML protocol. It describes the specification met for interfacing with XML-oriented services. And it works on combined SOAP and UDDI. So the standard for format for messaging is the SOAP. And the UDDI is the coherence provided the services within the WSDL network. So, may ginatawag kita guys nga port. Ang support nga daya is within sa network. Medyo nabi nga port nga lang sa computer ninyo ang sa likod. Ang mga port nga ginasaksakan ka mga hardware ninyo. Pero magambal ka mga port within sa network, this is defined by associating network address nga nag-reuse ka binding and collection of ports defined on services. So your HTTP is one, Hypertext Transport Protocol. So any TTP something is the port that is being described. So if you're going to Google that, Google will give you additional services that you can find aside from HTTP. So it is defined by associating a network address with the reusable binding and collection of port defined on services. So do ka weird ka topic naton tulad kay this is more on hardware type and networking services within sa network, pero it uses software and development for networking. Actually, all of this is necessary because you cannot surf on the net at the same time, give services or messaging services without the interference of your hardware and software services. So go hand in hand sanda. Meaning to say, without the other, there will be no messaging platform, and at the same time, there's no software being used which pushes the data from one person to another. So it becomes useless if this hardware and software mechanism doesn't interchangeably conform with each other. Okay. So medyo malawig yung discussion natin no karon, guys. So for your coding 143, the same thing with coding for 142. What you're going to do is to encode this and run this on online IDE, and then provide a screenshot if ever it made this successful. Okay, and then upload this to your Google Classroom. So another topic that we will be having for this evening is creating a web service. As you all know, guys, we have the client and the service. And sa tunga-tunga nanda is the SOAP messages. And these are this is intervening within a JAX WS runtime. So DSL ang provide ka protocol. Ang SOAP messaging is ang butang kaninyo using the different services that you can find. So another example, as I've said, one example is your FB Messenger. So karang una, guys, nga wipat FB Messenger, naga-email pa lang, and then may Yahoo man kitang Messenger nga ginatawag. Actually, ang Yahoo Messenger is somewhat similar to your FB Messenger. So it uses a defined platform for web service and chat. And because web or text messaging or text services is cheaper compared to video and voice service. Kaya sa voice service, lain naman na siya nga protocol. Ang HTTP is for the web development, kung ano makita nyo sa internet. Pero sa messaging ninyo is SMTP na siya. So there are a lot of protocol, guys. Ang tandaan niyo, ang protocol is a set of rules being implemented. So a set of rules cannot be done without a standard for web servicing. This is true for messaging also. So without a standard, ano ang standard niyo dyan? So nag-govern kada ang ISO ninyo. At the same, ang International Standard Organization that is the most of the higher standards that we can find. Pero ang ginasundan or ginagamit sa pag-send kadaya nga mga messages are your SMDP, your HTTP, and other TTP protocols. So kung may TTP protocol na it provides the standardization at the same time the platform for web service push notifications, mga pareho kada guys. So those are the things that made you familiar with messaging. However, what I'm trying to imply right now, forgive me if you cannot understand it, because it's very technical. That's why you have to read your module. So by reading the module, you will understand some things like for the lecture that you can see there, the explanation of what kind of protocol is this and what it is being done for the web servicing platform. So if you're very wary of all of these things, as I've said, our topic nga sa networking is just the pahapyaw lang yun, because you have another subject for this, and just because I want you to understand the very importance of protocol being mentioned on your web development procedures at the same time in programming itself. So we have a diverse example for programming languages, and I just want you to know that hindi lang isa kabilog ang ano naton ginagamit sa program, but actually all of those are integrated with each other so that you can have a most potent and viable portal for web service. So not only in web service but also in other platform and systems. Amo day guys, katama ka technical gid. You will notice that you must be adept to not only with software but also with the hardware equivalent of being an IT student. So tama gid ka broad ang topic, and I know that some of you are confused by this. The remedy to that is you have to read, and more readings pagid. So that you will know how are things being done, what is the being ginasunod ninyong procedure, and iban pa nga services that you can provide within your clients that you're wanted to serve or wanted to have the very best push notification or messaging services that you can find on the internet. So I think that is all for this evening, guys. I'm not going to elaborate anymore. If you want to make adjustments with your reading, please read the module first. I know that it's very long already. It's 14 pages. So you will be shocked sa next nga session na to. It's longer than 14 pages. So I hope you have the patience and the time to understand. What I'm emphasizing to you is during some time that we'll be having for the examples and all of those things nga ginaano ninyo sa web services, not only with web services topics but some more topics to come. You can find additional readings there sa likod, and at the same time you can just browse the internet for added information. For your activity, just make sure lang that you had a specific content that is being put into place within sa platform. So kung medyo why kamo time magbasa gid or probably hindi nyo mabasa tanan, buo lang kamo ka topic sa within sa naton sa may activity, and then search nyo siya, and then you read some more. Okay, so I hope that it will enable you to understand web services development. At the same time, ang iban pa nga platforms nga ginaano ninyo sa Orihi, kaya it will be service as your basis or the foundation for you to understand other subjects in the future, just like networking and data data communications subjects. So more of that you'll understand also in your networking at the same time on systems analysis and design. If ever you have the chance, being prepared for being a systems analyst or a programmer for your group later on, you may do so. Okay, so if you have questions regarding the activity, please do so right now. Other than that, I encourage you to put your names already on our chat box. I know that that is what you're waiting for. So I will not hold you more longer than our lecture. I hope that you can pass your activity on on Friday, and if not, I hope that you can pass your activity before the final ends. Okay, for this semester. So do kadasig lang gid ka ano naton guys. I think the first semester for the next school year is knocking on our doors already. So after 3 weeks, we have our final examination. Please prepare yourselves. Pang basa-basa lang. Do not memorize. I will not encourage you to memorize, but to read. Basahon lang yun. And then understand the contents of the. No. If you have questions, you can always PM me, or you can put your message there in our GC, in our group chat. And I hope that you have a nice evening right now. Naka-yapon doon kag naka ano. Although the weather is not that good, but I hope that everybody is fine. And I hope that you have a good time this evening. So thank you so much, guys. And give your what's this tell your parents to that I'm saying hello to them, and saying good evening to them also. uh, um, we'll see each other again next week. More of the lectures will be so please put your names there, as this that will serve as your attendance. So any more questions, please? Do you have any questions? Okay, so thank you guys. Thank you. Good evening, Yvette. John Paul,
Good
good
evening,
evening.
sir.
Good
Thank you,
evening.
sir. Good evening.
Dennis, good evening. And thank you guys. Adrian, good evening. So
Good evening,
John
sir.
Christian,
Thank
good
you.
evening. Edmer, good evening. Thank you guys.
Good evening,
Jesame, good
sir.
evening. John Paul, good evening to.
Good evening,
Jaya,
sir.
good evening. So thank you, Gid, for attending our class for this evening, guys. If you missed out on something, yes, Jaya, good evening. If you missed out on something, please check out the rewind, or the what's this? The a review of this video on our GC. I will post it later on. So good evening, guys, and thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Bye bye. See you next week.